Here is the news at 10. First, the highlights. Lagos State Deputy Governor urges families to be pillars of peace, uphold roles as protectors of national values. Federal government projects agriculture reforms to crush food prices, reduce import dependency. On the foreign scene, Iran threatens to strike Israel's nuclear site in counterattacks. And in sport, Nigeria Football Federation announces Lagos State as hosts of 2025 Federation Cup finals. Now the details. I am Dele Agadumo. Lagos State Deputy Governor Obafemi Hamzat has urged families to be pillars of peace and uphold their roles as protectors of the nation's values. Hamzat made the call at the 2025 Eid al-Adha celebration organized by the Lagos State First Family and the Ministry of Home Affairs with the theme, "My Lord, Make This Land Secure." Hamzat made the call he also advised Lagosians to take proper care of their children and wards, describing them as the future and ambassadors of the state.
He said, "It is not the meat or the blood that gets the Almighty Allah. It is our pious act. It is our loyalty to God. It's our obedience and compassion for others." It's very important that we imbibe the spirit in the career, the spirit of obedience to God, loyalty to our nation, ourselves, compassion left over. If we do this, God will be with us, God will guide us.
Earlier in her welcome address, wife of the Deputy Governor, Oluremi Hamzat, noted that the event is more than a celebration, but a reminder to surrender to the will of the Creator and service of communities with purpose.
The theme of this year's celebration, "My Lord, make this land secured," echoes a timeless prayers from Prophet Ibrahim, which remains relevant today. In a time when our nation seeks lasting peace and stability, this verse is a reminder of our shared responsibility to foster harmony, uphold justice, and protect one another.
The guest lecturer, who is the head of surgery department at Alimosha General Hospital, Ahmed Said, explained that national security begins with individual actions and not just government policies. Said urged citizens to follow the example of Prophet Ibrahim by embracing unity, discipline, and moral leadership.
Identification of what is wrong in any journey growth in life. One needs to know what is wrong so it can be avoided. One needs to know what is harmful so that precautions can be taken. Next stage in Ibrahim's life, after knowing that the activities of his people, by the way they worship idols, by the way they prostrated for stone, and mountain and wooden element was wrong. The next stage in his development is to seek the truth.
On his part, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Home Affairs, Adewumi Ogunsoya, commended Muslim faithful in the state for their dedication to faith, family, and the collective future of Lagos. Lagos State government has called for the support of procurement professionals in making the state a model not only of trade but also of trust, transparency, and transformation. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu made the call while delivering a keynote address at a symposium organized by the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply, CIPS, Nigeria. Governor Sanwo-Olu, who was represented by the Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources, Biodun Ogunleye, described procurement and supply as critical arteries of the supply chain system, and Lagos accounts for over 60% of Nigeria's industrial and commercial activities. He explained that the state government's goal is to position Lagos as not just Nigeria's economic heartbeat, but as West Africa's most reliable and resilient trade hub, a place where goods move swiftly, policies are coherent, and partnerships thrive. The governor highlighted the state government's strategic investments in smarter logistics, including new infrastructure such as the Lekki Deep Sea Port, aimed at fostering transparency and efficiency in public procurement. On his part, the Director General of the Lagos State Public Procurement Agency, Fatai Onofowote, reiterated the state government's commitment to promoting strategic procurement to attract investors. Also contributing to the discourse, the Global Chief Executive Officer of CIPS, Ben Farrell, noted that the procurement profession is a powerful tool that could assist in securing efficiency and cost reduction in the provision of goods and services if the due process is followed. The Nigerian Railway Corporation (NRC) says the rail transport on the Warri-Itakpe corridor is safe and operational. Acting Deputy Director Public Relations (NRC) Callistus Oyimadu stated this while reacting to a widely circulated social media message warning the public to avoid train travel, particularly along Warri-Itakpe rail corridor. Oyimadu noted that the identified incident, which involved the temporary removal of some rail clips at a specific location on the corridor, was promptly detected during routine inspection and was immediately rectified by the NRC maintenance team. He said all necessary safety and operational protocols were strictly followed to ensure that no threat was posed to passengers or the integrity of the train operations. Oyimadu pointed out that the NRC remained committed to the high standards of safety and security in all its operations, adding that NRC tracks and rolling stock are under constant surveillance and maintenance, and NRC personnel are fully equipped to address any issue that may arise in real time. Niger State Governor Mohammed Bago has announced a 1 billion naira donation to victims of the recent Mokwa flooding incident. Bago made the donation when he paid a visit to the flood-ravaged local government for an on-the-spot assessment of buildings destroyed by the flood. The governor, who commiserated with the residents, stressed the need for the people to stay clear of waterways so as to prevent the loss of lives and property during such incidents. He assured them that all the cash and material donated by the federal government, kind-spirited individuals, government agencies, as well as donor agencies would be utilized for the purpose it was meant for. Bago lauded all those who supported the affected victims in no small measure, saying that the government would resettle those affected by the flood directly or indirectly. He advised the Islamic teachers in the area to always ensure that they documented all the pupils under their care and to trace them when missing. Now to the rest of the stories. The federal government says its agricultural reforms are designed to ensure food availability, affordability, and accessibility for all Nigerians. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, who stated this while speaking to newsmen in Maiduguri, Borno State, said the immediate priority is to address affordability and ensure every Nigerian has access to safe and nutritious food. Kyari said the ministry had adopted a multi-pronged strategy to confront challenges such as insecurity, flooding, and import dependency, particularly in critical areas like wheat and rice production. According to him, Cross River has become the first southern state to join the wheat production drive, marking a significant milestone in diversifying the crop's geographic spread. Kyari also said fertilizer distribution under the program had boosted rice production by 58,000 tons, enabling the federal government to subsidize rice supply to states affected by flooding. With Nigeria's population projected to reach 400 million by 2050, the minister said the government is focused on mechanized agriculture and youth empowerment to guarantee long-term food security. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has promised investors that his administration will protect their interests such that change of government will not impair their investments in the state. Makinde gave the assurance while playing host to the Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfTA, Wamkele Mene, who was in Ibadan, the state capital. He said the legislative arm and the executive are on the same page in terms of how to develop Oyo State. Speaking on the comparative advantage of the state, Makinde said Oyo State is central in the geography of Nigeria and that of West Africa, as it shares a common border with the Republic of Benin, which means the state has access to the West African sub-region in terms of developing the market. The AfTA Secretary General, who was accompanied by his executive members as well as some investors, lauded Makinde for growing the economy by over 4%. Mene said the purpose of coming was to consolidate the collaboration between the AfTA and Oyo State and to know where it would fit in the establishment of a green industrial technology sector. Edo State government has deployed 70 doses of anti-diphtheria vaccines to the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, where 2 people died last week of the disease. Commissioner for Health Cyril Oshomole said the government also got some doses from neighboring Delta State, but expressed worry that the disease was spreading beyond the expected scope. Oshomole said people who had been fully vaccinated were infected, including people above age 5 who were not expected to be infected. The commissioner said the government had contacted the national body of primary health care to give clearance to immunize children above the age of 5. Oshomole said Governor Monday Okpebolo had approved the donation of beds and fittings and other items to the emergency center in the hospital and possibly offset the medical bills of patients. And now to foreign news. Iran has issued a stern warning to Israel, vowing to retaliate against any military action targeting its nuclear facilities. The announcement was made by Iran's Supreme National Security Council, which claimed it had obtained sensitive intelligence on Israeli nuclear sites that could guide potential counterattacks. The warning came amid heightened tensions between the two countries, as Israel has repeatedly signaled it might strike Iran's nuclear infrastructure to prevent the Islamic Republic from acquiring nuclear weapons, a claim Tehran continues to deny. The Council also warned that Iran's response would be precisely proportional to the nature of any military or economic strike from Israel. Iran and Israel have long been locked in a covert conflict involving cyber attacks, sabotage operations, and targeted assassinations. United States President Donald Trump is deploying more National Guard troops and Marines to Los Angeles as protests in the city continue. California Governor Gavin Newsom says he will take legal action against the deployment, calling Trump dictatorial. Demonstrations in the city continued into a 4th day, with new rallies starting up across the U.S. against the immigration authorities. Rubber bullets, stun grenades, and other non-lethal weapons have been used against the protesters. In our sport, the Nigeria Football Federation has announced that the Mobolaji Johnson Arena in Lagos will host both the men's and women's President Federation Cup finals for the 2nd consecutive year on Saturday, June 28. This year's final features surprise package Abakaliki FC of Ebonyi taking on Kwara United of Ilorin in the men's final, while defending champions Rivers and Angels of Port Harcourt will face Nasarawa Amazons of Lafia in the women's decider. On the women's side, Rivers Angels aims to defend the coveted trophy against 2-time champions Nasarawa Amazons in a much-anticipated repeat of the 2019 edition. The Lafia Landladies enter the final on the back of a strong performance in the 2025 NWFL Premiership Super 6 playoff, where they finished 2nd place, 1 point behind Bayelsa Queens, after defeating Rivers Angels 2-1 in the anti-penultimate match day. And that was the news at 10. Just before we go, always slow down at road junctions, intersections and pedestrian crossings. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms: X at Traffic Radio 961, Facebook Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Instagram Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Subscribe and watch our news and programs live on YouTube at Traffic Radio 961. Visit our website on www.trafficradio961.ng. You can also listen to Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM live on My Lagos app for timely updates. Did you know that under the Sanwo-Olu administration, 814 children benefited from vocational training, reformation, behavioral modification, psychosocial therapy, reintegration, empowerment and scholarships to higher institutions of learning, both local and international? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. To end the news, try the highlights of the major stories. Lagos State Deputy Governor Obafemi Hamzat has urged families to be pillars of peace and uphold their roles as protectors of the nation's values. The federal government said its agricultural reforms are designed to ensure food availability, affordability, and accessibility for all Nigerians. We also told you that Iran has issued a stern warning to Israel, vowing to retaliate against any military action targeting its nuclear facilities. And in sport, the Nigeria Football Federation has announced that the Mobolaji Johnson Arena in Lagos will host both the men's and women's present Federation Cup finals for the second consecutive year on Saturday, June 28. For contact with the newsroom, send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. That is the news broadcast compiled by Abiola Fagbolagun. I am Dele Agadumo. Good morning. Thank you for listening.